On this day, 7 years ago, I embarked on one of the most brutal initiations that a human can experience, in my opinion. And it started with a call. I had a relative call me to tell me that my brother, she said his name, had just passed away. And I can remember throwing my phone away and just screaming and then thinking to myself, oh, but wait, maybe she's talking about another Ramsey. Like, he can't be dead. Like, how? I just spoke to him yesterday. And then I picked my phone up and I asked her, which Randy are you talking about? And then she said, your brother. And that's how everything crashed for me in an instant. It, it's it was insane, insane to think that it's been 7 years. It's unbelievable because it's been a crazy, crazy ride for me, and I've had moments where I was in full denial. Some moments where my mind was like, maybe he never existed. Maybe he was just a creation of my imagination. Maybe I never actually had another brother and stuff like that. It's been a crazy ride, and today, in honor of his memory, I would like to talk about a few things that I think make our grieving journeys, a lot harder than they should. Not that a grieving journey is supposed to be easy. It's hard. It's freaking hard. But there are things that we do. Yeah, so there are things that we do that make our grieving journeys a lot harder than they should be. And that's what I want to talk about today, and as well as a few other things. Okay, I believe that our ability to deal with pain is formed, is determined in our childhood. The way our caregivers, our parents reacted to us when we were in pain, um, the image that we got or the feedback that we got from our caregivers plays a huge role in our ability to deal with grief as adults or as, I don't know, however old we are when we're dealing with grief. It plays a huge role in how we're able to deal with our emotions, especially hard emotions. So, if, for example, whenever we cried as children, we were told, don't cry, it's not that bad. We were cajoled or shamed out of our emotions. We're going to have a really, really, really hard time, a much harder time dealing with our emotions, or not dealing, experiencing grief, because grief is, it's heart-wrenching. It's it's difficult. It's very difficult. And if we've been brainwashed or programmed into thinking that emotions are bad. As soon as you feel negative emotions or hard, strong emotions, you should do everything um, to reduce them or to make them disappear, or you should remove your focus off of them and stuff like that. It's gonna be very hard, and it is much harder because we don't know how to just surrender. And grief, I think one of the key elements that grief tries to teach us that we've forgotten because of how we were raised is the art of surrendering. Can you surrender to your pain and believe that you will not die? Because I've had moments, and I've heard other people say this, that, let me just put it in my words, I was afraid to feel the feelings that were in me because I thought I would die. I honestly felt like if I allowed these feelings of this vault to open, my heart would stop. That's how painful, like, it felt. I could physically feel the pain. And I just thought, if I allow myself to feel this stuff, I'm not going to survive it. It's going to kill me. And it's very, very far from the truth. I think running away from the pain is more painful than the actual pain. And I would like to read you something from it's called, the book is called Discovering the Inner Mother. It has nothing to do with death and grief, but somehow it's related. Um okay. Longing for relief from pain is natural. It is human. But if we are truly to mature as a species and truly heal, we must change our focus from seeking relief away from our wounds and instead seek relief through the transformation of ourselves through them. I think the experience, the initiation, like I would like to call it, of my brother passing completely transformed me as a person. I am I can I can hardly recognize the person that I used to be, the person that I was 7 years ago. Obviously, I was much younger. I was 21 or 22. Um, but still, the belief system that I've changed so freaking much. I've transformed. And I don't think that I'm finished with my transformation process. I don't even think I'm 70% uh complete. I don't think the process, everything that this initiation came to teach me, I've learned. I'm not done. I may be like almost halfway through, but still have a long way to go. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, our childhoods and the way our hard, strong emotions were dealt with play a huge role in our ability to handle our strong emotions, and in this specific circumstance, grief, the passing of a loved one. It's very, very hard for people to feel their feelings, and I'm a keen observer of people. I just love watching people and just observing how people react to stuff, and just, I don't know why, it's just something that I love. And I've observed that when we fall, not fall, when we are in the process of initiation, this specific kind of initiation, we fall into addictive behaviors. Um, and I myself fell into such behaviors as well. Um, we either work too much, we drink too much, we smoke too much, we eat too much, we sleep too much. Even though I would argue sleeping is one of the good addictions in this circumstance, because it actually helps. Um, yeah, we fall into addictive behaviors. In my specific case, um, I struggled with binge eating. I had what I would like to think was a severe binge eating. I would eat so much that I would be sick every night. And I would think to myself, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I explored everything. I watched almost, I don't know, 30 videos on YouTube on binge eating, and none of them could help me long term. I I would eat and eat and eat. I would eat healthy, start my day out right. I would work out, maybe intermittent fast, and then eat really, really, really healthy. And then in some way, I would just find myself at the store buying bread. And my thing was bread, baguettes, and butter. And I decided not to keep bread or butter on my plate because I thought, okay, maybe this is a trigger. And that was one of the advice that I got from one of the videos that I listened to. And it worked for like a day or two. And then it felt like I would black out for a moment and I would just find myself at the store buying bread and butter. And the problem is not eating bread and butter. The problem is, if you know what binge eating is, it's the amounts. It's the amounts. I would down like, oh my God, it's insane, an insane amount of bread, and I would eat 250 grams or 200 grams of butter in 2 days, literally by myself. And that is in addition to the food that the regular food intake that I already had. And I would go through a cycle of beating myself up every night, feeling so sick, wanted to throw up every night, drinking apple cider vinegar with hot water to help the nausea pass, and um, the next day wake up, fast, work out really, really, really hard to burn off all the extra calories, and then be good for a good amount of the day. It's about 4 p.m. and crash. And yes, now I'm learning also like the cortisol levels, how it affects us and creates cravings and stuff like that. But something was eating me from the inside out, is what I eventually figured out after trying so many different things: working out, working out, working out, eating healthy, educating myself on food, going on the keto diet, trying different things, and nothing worked long term. Nothing worked long term until I realized something is eating me from the inside out. I'm eating because I'm in pain. And I didn't realize that I was in pain. To me, I was fine. I thought I was perfectly fine. Like, I was living my life, doing the stuff that I had to do. I had my baby. And I didn't realize that the things that I was doing were stemming from pain, were stemming from me running away from pain. It's not until I think I actually realized that I was in deep distress when I woke up one night, because sleep was my happy place. Sleep was the it was my happy place. Sleep was my everything. I I I I couldn't sleep during the day. No, I did sleep during the day, but I had trouble staying conscious. And that was my specific addictive pattern that I fell into in order to numb myself and disconnect from the pain and everything that was happening. It was just too hard to look at, and I felt like it would just break me apart. I was already broken. I already felt broken, and I felt like it would break me apart. So you can imagine. I My addictive pattern was to watch movies, and I would watch at that time. I don't know if TikTok existed, but I didn't have TikTok. I didn't know TikTok. I'm glad it was not the TikTok era. Else, I don't know what would have happened to me. But I would watch movie after movie after movie, actually series, episode after episode after episode after episode after episode. The only moment I wasn't watching something was when I was either taking care of my daughter because she was still a baby, showering, making food. Actually, when I was making food, I would actually also watch something. Eat. I would also watch something while I was eating. So the only moments I wasn't watching something were maybe early in the morning, because I wouldn't watch stuff early in the morning. Um, so actually, when I was showering was the only time I wasn't watching something, an episode of something. And also, what restricted my watching was also um, I didn't want to use Wi-Fi at that point in time. I was using the cable internet, so I got an extra long cable so I could go to most of the rooms, but there were some places where I couldn't go with my laptop. So I would watch series after series after series after episode, and when it was time to sleep, I couldn't just turn it off and go to bed. I would go to bed. This was in the first year of my viewing journey. I would go to bed with my laptop and place it next to my bed and watch and watch and watch until I felt like, okay, my brain can't take it anymore. I need to sleep. And so I felt like I would just, as soon as I would get into bed, I would fall asleep immediately. That's when I would stop watching, because I didn't want to have any headspace. I didn't want any thinking time. I did not want any space whatsoever that would allow my pain to creep into my conscious mind. I didn't want that. And that was my strategy to eliminate it, since I didn't take alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't do all the other possible addictive stuff. That was my own uh cigarette, I would say. Um so it didn't take until I started waking up in the middle of the night in cold sweats. I couldn't sleep anymore. And like I said, sleep was my happy place. I did everything I did during the day to numb myself. And was very glad when I could finally fall asleep, because when I was asleep, I was at peace. I had peace while I was at sleep. And then I couldn't sleep anymore. And this was about, yeah, a year into my grieving journey. I couldn't sleep anymore. I would go to bed at night and wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and just thinking about what I didn't want to think about. And it drove me crazy. It drove me insane. And I think we often see people on a personal development journey, avid readers, breath workers, cold plungers, and we just think, sometimes maybe we can want to think that, oh, they just like developing themselves and stuff like that. No, I think most people on a personal development journey that do all this stuff that seem to be so intense are people that started out of first, it was a method of survival, is what I'm trying to say. It was for survival, and for me that's what it was. I started reading. I was already an avid reader, but I started reading a lot more. I delved into spiritual stuff and trying to understand, where do we come from, what is a soul, what happens when we die, the different perspectives. Do we actually die? Because some people don't believe we die. Some, yeah, it's broad. It's broad and it's deep. So I entered several different rabbit holes after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and so it didn't take until me losing my sleep, which was my happy place, for me to realize that I was suffering, I was in pain. Because to me, if you would ask me consciously how I was doing, I would tell you I'm perfectly fine. I'm fine. I'm a bit sad, but I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. Um, but I wasn't fine. I wasn't fine. I was very, very far from being fine. But because, like I said, growing up, we tell ourselves, we are told, and everything that we heard becomes the voice that is in our minds, and that directs our behaviors and our actions. Every time I would start to feel sad, or I would have this thoughts come up, I would just start hitting myself, and it was so um automatic. I wouldn't think it. I just noticed that I would start hitting myself. Then I realized, oh, I was thinking this, and then I started hitting myself, and it felt like hitting my hand, my arm, would kind of stabilize me and bring me back into my body. I think that's exactly what it does. It did. It brought me back into my body and allowed me to quickly distract myself and flip the thought. Oh my god, I could speak for 3 hours about grief, but I don't want to speak for 3 hours. So, like I said, our childhoods play a huge role on our ability to handle grief. And this is just to say that the reason we suffer more than we should be suffering because we are afraid of pain. But originally, when we came on this earth plane, we were not afraid of pain. We were not afraid of emotions, is what I was trying to say. We were not afraid of emotions. If we felt hungry and sad or frustrated, we would just cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry until we were soothed, until we found relief. But we slowly learned that in different ways, it takes different forms based on the families that we had. Your emotions not important. Stop making noise. You're a burden for feeling the way that you feel, or anger is bad. Strong emotions are not good for you, and you should stop it. You don't need to feel that way, or it's not that bad. And then when we're grieving, it's a wake up call. Are you gonna hold on to those beliefs that don't serve you? Maybe you thought served you, or are you gonna allow the grief to wreck you apart, and wreck you apart in the sense that it's gonna destroy all the beliefs that are not serving you if you allow it to. You can hold strongly to it, which is why I think people harden. And I can make a whole other video on this. But if you surrender to grief, it will wreck you apart. It will wreck all the stuff, burn all the stuff in your life, or bring to your awareness all the stuff in your life that don't serve you. And it will bring you to a much higher, more advanced version of yourself that I think would have taken 30 years. I still need to scientifically back what I'm saying, because I'm just saying this from experience. I feel from my experience, the advancement, the spiritual awakening that I had, and everything that I was able to absorb and embody and understand, I would not have been able to had I not been experiencing the deep pain that I was experiencing. It would have taken me at least 30 years, in my opinion. 30 to 50 years, or possibly another lifetime, to be able to grasp the things that I've been able to grasp. Whew, that was a long sentence. Um, this is not an easy video to make, and I'm trying to keep my thoughts in a line so that the video doesn't get very confusing, but it's a bit hard. Oh, okay. The key the key to moving through the tunnel of grief, in my humble opinion, from my experience, is to feel the pain, feel to heal. It's, in my opinion, the only way out. There might be another one, but I haven't found it. So I am saying from my own perspective, from in my opinion, you gotta feel it to heal it. You can run away from it. You can numb yourself, like I did. You can numb yourself until the numbing doesn't work anymore, and then you find a stronger numbing drug or stuff until it kills you. Or you can allow the pain to break you, because the breaking, it's like a uh what's the name of this animal? Oh my god, I forgot. A phoenix. You burn and you awaken into a beautiful version of yourself. If you see a phoenix when it's in its I don't know, reconstruction phase or rebirth phase, it looks absolutely horrendous. And then it just burns and then rises into this beautiful, gorgeous bird with wonderful colors. I think that's exactly one of the things that happens to us on the grieving process. And as humans, I believe that it's one of the initiation processes that we have that brings us back to ourselves, to our true selves, to the source, if you want to call it that way, or to God, if that's what you believe in, if that's how you want to call it, God, source, universe, whatever, your higher self. It brings us back to that, because a lot of us are moving through this life lost, 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 feeling abandoned, ungrounded, and just lost. And grief has the immense power, in addition to having children, have the power to bringing us back home to ourselves, if we are willing to be taken back home. We can resist grief, and then it's not gonna do the stuff that it's able to do to us. It's just gonna be a painful process of us running away from what we're feeling, finding a ways to numb ourselves, living our lives and pretending to be happy, and some crazy stuff that don't seem related to what grief happening in our lives. Nothing seems to be working well, and we just have this deep inner sadness and longing for to be home and feeling homesick inside our own bodies, because we are not willing, we're not allowing the process to unfold. And this is something that is harder, and it's gonna become harder even for us, because we live in an era where distraction is so easy to come to have. Back in the days when there was no internet, and you just maybe were working on a farm, if you were in pain, you were there with your emotions. You couldn't run away from your emotions like we can today. We have TikTok, which you can scroll with, or scroll through for hours and hours and hours and hours, Twitter and all sorts of crazy things, which are great. They have their good sides, but if you're in pain, those things will just contribute to your destruction, and making the process a lot more harder than it should be. Yeah. Grief is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be painful. I think it's supposed to be painful based on the belief systems that we have. It is. I'm gonna get a pill just to. Whew. Okay. Okay. Grief is not supposed to be easy based on the belief systems that we hold. It is hard. It's hard. It's a process. And I think it's meant to be that way. But if you would allow the grief, I call grief one of my best friends now. If you would allow this friend, that this entity, or this light that wants to befriend us, that feels like darkness, it will show us and reveal stuff to us that we never would have imagined. It will bring us onto paths that we could not have thought of consciously. I think it just there's a word, it's I think it allows us to, it catapults us to a high level of awakening. It catapults our awakening journey, if that makes sense. If we were gonna awaken in 5 years, it would happen much faster. Um, it has the ability to do that, but only if we would allow the the feelings to work their work. And yeah, so like you might have understood, um, one of the things that makes our grieving journey harder is distraction. We're a very distracted society, and distraction is so easy. It takes a lot of discipline to not fall into that. And this is one of the things that I wish I knew when I embarked on this journey, or was embarked on this journey. I wish I knew that me distracting myself was actually just making the process harder. Um, and I wish I had tools to be able to hold the pain, because the pain is very heavy. And the only reason we distract ourselves is because we feel like we're not able to carry it, we're not able to feel it because it's too painful. And yeah, and some of us are not able to cry even at all, or we don't feel safe enough to cry, and things like that. This has been a long, rambly kind of video going in all sorts of directions. I wish I was able to. This is like the third time trying to shoot this, but I'm not able to go in a linear way in my explanations. That's okay. I want to leave you with, if you watched to this point, I applaud you. And I want to leave you with a few tools that will really, really help you if you choose to use them, um, to navigate your grief and feel your pain, allow the pain to come up, and feel it. One of the things is to lie on a hard surface. And this will be especially helpful for people who don't feel safe enough to cry like me. I have a thing. I need to feel safe to cry. It doesn't even make sense. I need like someone maybe to hold me, someone that I trust to hold me for me to be able to cry. And I found that lying on a hard surface like the floor or on the bed, and covering myself with the sheets, like creating a layer of protection around me, or lying on the floor, it feels like, the masculine holding me, so I'm able to surrender. This is egal. I don't know how you say egal in, in English. I'm speaking German here, but irrespective of if you're a man or a woman, you need the things that allow us to feel held are could be described as masculine energy. So the hard floor will give you that, and you or lying on the bed and wrapping yourself in a blanket, or maybe covering yourself while you're on the hard floor, and holding yourself, holding yourself, and doing that distraction free will allow you to will allow the emotions to come up. And if you want the emotions to you want to connect to your emotions even faster, you place one of your hands on your heart, and if you're a woman, you place the other hand on your womb. Sorry, I hit the mic. Um, you place one hand on your heart, one hand on your womb, or both hands on your heart, and just breathe in deeply, and you will slowly feel a connection. You'll start connecting, and whatever needs to rise, whatever needs to come up will come up. That's one of the things that I wish I knew, because it sounds so simple, sounds so stupid, even it works. Um, the other thing that I found recently that I wish I knew this. I wish I knew this. I wish I knew this, and that is breath work. Breath work is amazing, and I'm just gonna um summarize breath work by saying that it gives you the space to handle the shit that you're handling. It just creates space, and gives you more, it increases your capacity to handle. That's what it does. It's We might be tempted to think that breath work will make your grief disappear and stuff like that. It makes you feel great, don't get me wrong, but it just creates space for you to handle the stuff. The stuff remains there for you to handle it. It remains there for you to handle it. It just creates space in your nervous system for you to be able to increases your capacity to handle, plain and simple. And if you've never heard about breath work, you can just type in YouTube. Wim Hof is like the most renowned person in terms of breath work, and there's plenty of videos on the internet, but I would recommend Wim Hof. Or there's this guy, he has a few videos, very few videos on YouTube, but I've tried them and they feel really good. His name is David Palman. I will link both of the videos, or both of the channels, and in the description below. That is another thing. So breathwork is one of the other things that I wish I knew, because it's amazing. It's amazing. The other thing that I wish I knew was watching the sun rise, and just waking up with the sun. Obviously it's a bit harder if you have just had a baby like myself at the time, and your sleeping is not very, it is what it is. But rising with the sun, I can't explain what it does. I just know it feels amazing. I feel like I'm held, I'm supported, whatever is happening is gonna be okay. And I can't put words in it. It's insane. And I would slash rising with the sun if possible, or when you wake up, open your windows and look at the brightest point in the sky, just to uh yeah, expose your eyes to sunlight before you expose your eyes to your devices. And the other thing is grounding. I think I partly experienced the benefits of being in nature on my grieving journey, because I would go on long walks in the forest amongst big trees where I was living at the time. Um, but I didn't know grounding and the power that it has. Um, and so I would add that to the mix. It's very important. It's very important. I will make a video in the future talking about grounding and how it helps emotionally. Um, no matter how cold it is, like, just no amount of grounding is too little. I heard a doctor say no amount of grounding is too little, even if it's just 3 minutes, because sometimes it's winter and it's cold and you don't want to stay maybe for 30 minutes on the ground with your feet on the ground. But these days there are, I've never tried any of them, but I heard that they um have the same, not 100%, but have great effects like grounding sheets, grounding sandals, and stuff like that. But if it's warm where you live, you're very lucky. And I would recommend just the lying on the hard ground, like do it outdoors on the grass somewhere. Just find grass and just lie on it and give yourself like 10 minutes. And I swear you will feel held and supported, and you will have more space to handle the stuff that you are going through. Oh my god. This video was a lot harder to make than I thought it would be, and I thought I would be able to give it more structure, and there's a lot more that I wanted to talk about, but guess it's gonna happen some other time. But yeah, you gotta feel to heal. You gotta feel to heal. You can find tools to support, and sometimes distraction is also good, like watching a good movie that will make you laugh or just stabilize you a little bit, maybe distract you enough that so that you don't go crazy. But you can't just distract yourself endlessly. That's not healthy. You gotta pause on the distraction at some point and just be and when I say you gotta feel to heal, it's not like you're trying. It's gonna come up. It's gonna come up on its own. Just if you can just allow it to come up the way that it comes up. It's not ugly. Even if it's ugly, it's fine. Whatever way your mind tries to describe it, like it's not okay to feel this way, it's not okay to be angry, it's not okay to this, not okay to that. Just remind yourself it's okay. It's okay. It's exactly the way that it's supposed to be. It's okay. It's okay. And it, in addition to the point that I said, how our childhoods affect the way that we deal with emotions, we have something against anger, and in our society, culturally, we have something against anger and all the other negative emotions, which blocks and creates a massive obstacle on the grieving journey, because you're gonna feel angry. You're gonna feel angry, and a lot of the things that you were told not to feel, or were told that are not okay to feel, you're gonna feel them. You're gonna be angry, and it's okay to be angry. And I think that's one of the points or spots where a lot of people just block and stop, create a massive wall and never go through that wall until they die. Is anger. Anger. It's okay to be angry at God, at the circumstance, at whatever. It's okay. Just allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. It doesn't make you a bad person if you're angry at the person that you get to be even angry at the person that died. I know in some cultures they say if you're angry, in some religions, they say if you're angry at the person that died, or if you don't forgive them, maybe you have something against them, it's like stones are being thrown at them, their spirit or wherever they are. Gosh, gosh. You remember I said the things that you believe in determine how hard it's gonna be? This is one of the things. Some of our religions really don't support the grieving journey. The fact that we say, don't question God and stuff like that. Like, what kind of a God is really God? Would feel offense that his creation is questioning him, like he should be proud. I think a real God should be proud at his creation questioning him, or her creation questioning her. Makes them conscious, smart. They're not animals. We're not animals. We have consciousness for a reason. But yeah, I'm not here to tell you what to believe in, but I think you should, not should, I just suggest taking, anchoring yourself, um, taking what supports you and leaving what doesn't support you. At least for now, not forever. At least for now. Take what supports you and leave what doesn't support you, because you're gonna hear a bunch of crap. You're gonna hear a lot of nonsense from people that are disembodied, don't know what they're talking about. You don't get to feel like this. It's not okay to feel like that. Why are you still sad after such a long time? And all sorts of insane things that people are gonna say to you. Take what serves you and leave what doesn't serve you. And leaving what doesn't serve you sometimes entails leaving some people. Yeah. Sometimes our grieving journey requires that we let some people go. Because there are people that are in our lives that never belonged in our lives in the first place. And the grieving process is just going to come shed the light on some of these people that need to go. And you need to let them go. Let them go. And once again, the guilt and the stuff that was downloaded into our minds are gonna create resistance and have you feel guilty as to, oh, but they're trying to support me. Why do I feel bad? I don't have to. They said I shouldn't feel bad. So because they're doing this or this thing for me, I have to like do what they're asking me to do. And one other thing that I want to add is taking personal responsibility for yourself, because we've been taught a lot of things. We've been programmed to believe a lot of things that are not serving us, and we've been programmed to trust everybody else but ourselves. Trust every freaking body else but ourselves. I wonder why we were all given brains and we were all given intuition and a subconscious mind and all these things if we don't need them. Like, why the fuck would we have individual brains and individual minds, individual hearts if they weren't necessary? Why? Wouldn't that be a waste of resources? Like, if you were God and you didn't want people to think, you didn't want people to think for themselves or feel for themselves and stuff like that, why would you give them individual hearts? Why? Stop letting people tell you how to feel. People will come at you and tell you um, some really nasty stuff, not because they want to hurt you, but because that's their frame of reference. That's what they believe in. And if that hurts you and they repeatedly tell you stuff like that, or maybe every time they come to your place they tell you, I feel bad every time I come here, you're still sad. What are you gonna do? You're gonna feel your stuff. What are you gonna do? You're gonna let them make you, are you gonna put up a face, pretend to be happy, just so they're happy around you? Or are you gonna let them go? Because if someone really loves you, they I would like to think that they should be able to be there for you also when it's not the happy moments. And the people that only want to be with you when you're happy, they're not your friends. Even if it's your family, they're not your friends. They're not your friends. And you may think that you need them. You probably don't. You probably don't. But we're so afraid of being lonely that we attach to people that don't serve us, and we don't give the space for the true people, our true tribe, to find us. I've probably gone on a tangent, but yeah. It is what it is. Talking about grief is insane. I think I should make like 5-minute videos talking about specific topics, and then I would be able to just stay on course and not go off course so much. But yeah, I just wanted to, the idea just came to me while I was at the park and just being in nature today, to make this video and just share some of the stuff that served me, some of the stuff that I've learned. And yeah, one of the things that I haven't mentioned that really, really helped me was journaling. No, it didn't help me at the start because I started journaling like 2 years ago. I had been journaling in the past, like randomly every, I don't know, 3 months, not really consistently, but I started doing it again about 2 years ago, and it's been feeling really great. And I wish I'd had that. I wish I had journaled on many of the moments. It would have allowed me to learn, because the more you journal, the more you're able to read where you were and to see the patterns in the way in the way that we think, the way that you think, and learn, learn and evolve. Yeah, that's one thing that I kind of regret not doing from the start, but yeah, it's okay. But it's something that is really good if you need to, even if you're a positive thinker, sometimes you just need to dump. And if you feel good writing, write. And the other thing that I want to add that is yeah, helpful is to find community, like community that actually supports you. I don't know how you're gonna do this, but like find community that supports you. This could be your family, this could be your friends. If you have great friends, you're really lucky. That's amazing. Let them be there for you. Don't isolate. Don't feel like you're being a burden to people, and don't feel like you're overwhelming them with your emotions and stuff like that. You are happy. When you're happy, like you dance together. You don't feel like you're overwhelming them with your joy. Why do you feel like you're overwhelming them with your sadness? If they are your tribe, they are your tribe, or they're not. And the people that don't belong in your life will deselect themselves anyways, or will make you feel bad and try to make you conform into behaving in ways that will suit them. So my camera died and I had to end the video. So basically, my tips that I have are to do what you can to support yourself, to create the space to be able to handle what you're handling, and that is through breath work, talk therapy, talking with your friends, talking about the stuff that you don't want to talk about. No, that you are afraid to talk about. You don't have to talk about it. Um, Journaling, meditating, going into the darkness of your soul, and then just allow it to come up, because it's not it's gonna come up anyways. It's just a fan video. It's gonna come up anyways, but you just have to trust that you have the strength to handle it. It's not gonna kill you. It feels like it's gonna kill you. It feels like your heart is gonna break apart. It's not. Sorry, I have my daughter in the background. Um, it's not gonna kill you. What can kill you is running away and pretending that nothing has happened and acting like everything is okay and running away from your emotions again and again and again. And because our systems are so freaking smart, grief, this friend can turn into something that you're not gonna like, and it will find ways to get you to pay attention to what you're running away from. And when it does that, it's already not funny, but then it's even more not funny, if you get what I mean. And yeah, I'm just gonna end this here. This is a Like I said, this is a special day for me. I might not upload it on September 1st, which is today. um but yeah, this is a special day for me, and I thought I would just do this. And yeah, if you watched till here, you are freaking amazing. Thank you. Bye.